So have you messed up in your marriage and now you're trying to rebuild the trust that you've lost? It is possible, whether you've made a small error or a major, major mistake and a misstep. There are certain steps you can take to rebuild trust. And if you're willing to have the patience and follow the right plan, you can get back to where you were. And actually, some research says you can end up even better than you were, better off than you were before. So if you also have struggled with rebuilding trust, hit the like button so that this information can get to more guys like you, and hopefully this will help. Okay, so first thing you got to do is you've got to take full responsibility for what you've done, okay? Often when I'm counseling couples, I hear apologies that have blame in them. You know, things that sound like, I never should have done that to you. I was just really upset by the way you were not listening to me or not taking care of me or blah, 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 whatever. And I know that's not an excuse, but that's just what, that ruins the apology. That ruins the ownership. And so what you've essentially done is you've blamed her for you being a moron. To her face, in that moment, is not what you're supposed to be doing. You need to just fully own your part of it, period. Confession is actually a powerful tool. It really takes a lot of weight off of you, okay? And it turns the situation over to the other person where they get to decide what they're gonna do with it, but at least they're no longer left in a type of limbo where they're waiting for you to actually acknowledge what has happened. And so confession is a powerful thing in marriage. Let it out, get it off your chest, get it off your psyche, and know that you've owned it. I totally acknowledge that some of this stuff might not be your fault. Maybe not all of it is your fault, but when it comes to an apology, you have to take ownership, or it ruins the whole thing, and then you've got to start all over again. Or they won't even receive what you have to say. The more they don't think that you're taking ownership of what you've done. There's a certain way to apologize. I don't recommend just saying, and I'm sorry, and just leaving it at that. There's a marriage program I was a part of one time where they probably had the best reconciliation method I've ever heard of, and I still use it to this day. And if I were to give you the steps of it, it very quickly be this. First of all, you're going to admit to what you did wrong. Second of all, you're going to express how you believe the wrong thing that you did made them feel. Thirdly, you're going to express how it makes you feel to know that you've put them through that thing. Fourthly, you're going to finally say you're sorry and ask if they would be able to forgive you. When you do that in that type of situation without any justification and self-defense, wow, it makes a difference. It's a very vulnerable thing to do. It's incredibly vulnerable, but it can have the kind of impact that lasts a long time. The second thing you have to do as a man is allow your wife to now have her space to process, recuperate, and just decide what she's going to do with this thing. I can't promise you that the decision that your wife is going to make during this time is going to be the right one or a rational one or anything like that. But you breathing down her neck to forgive you, or breathing down her neck that, hey, I said I was sorry, can't we get past this? You're just going to make things worse, okay? So what you have to do instead is double down on the type of love offerings that you should have been making before. You need to be filling up her cup, and you need to be remember, even in this time, honestly, talk is cheap. All this, she may have loved to hear I love yous before. Hearing I love yous now don't have nearly the impact they used to have, okay? So this is where you really probably turn more into an acts of service type of lover, and someone who's just incredibly supportive of your spouse. Acts of service and supportive are probably the best things to kind of coast in, and not coast, that's a terrible word, to be actively intentional about while your wife deals with this sort of thing. And whatever you do, don't be a hypocrite. Don't go back on your apology. Don't start. You don't get to defend yourself about this in arguments or anything like that. It just is what it is now. Later on, after some healing has started to happen, if there are some things that your wife needs to own, you can have her own them, but do your best not to have her own them in the context of the what you did, okay? Because what you did is without excuse. But if she is responsible for pushing you in a certain direction, then before you cheated or before you lost her trust in doing whatever it is you did, before you lost that trust, you were wrong then. She was wrong then, before you did the terrible response. And so it's very important that you're in a conversation that is not related to the context of the thing that you did wrong. It's important to let her know, hey, this is something that's been happening that hurts me. And I know if it keeps happening, I won't respond the way that I should. And so I really want to start doing something about this. So just remember to be present and consistent in your actions. If you're committed to real reconciliation and rebuilding trust in your marriage, go ahead and let me know in the comments what actions are you taking to rebuild trust right now. Proverbs 20 and verse 6 says something really interesting. It says this: most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find? Okay. Most people will talk about being good and will talk about that they're trying to be better and I'm trying to grow and I've really changed and all these sorts of things. And I really do believe people can change. But it's much harder to find someone who actually did change than it is to find someone who's boasting about making changes. There's a lot of guys that are talk. Women need a man who's real action. So if there's a third thing you could do, the third thing would really just be to double down on consistent action. Start even with the smaller things that your wife has asked you to do, that you said you'd help her on or do better with and all that sort of thing, and now you're not. It's really time to double down on that. Start. If she wants you to clean up after yourself, really actually start cleaning up after yourself. If you said you'd be more helpful with the children, start actually being more helpful with the children. You need to utilize every opportunity that you can find to show yourself to be a man of your word. Okay? Show her that the person that lost her trust over here no longer exists. That man died, and now there's a new man that they're living with. You do that, you will start to, it's not going to be quick, but you will start to show yourself as someone that your wife can trust again. Okay? That doesn't solve all the problems, but it solves one of the most major ones. Having a wife that can trust you opens doors to all kinds of healing in the relationship. And finally, it's going to be good to seek professional help. I know that doesn't sound very appealing oftentimes. That might be even why you're here on YouTube watching a video like this to help yourself in this situation. But I am telling you, oftentimes when big, terrible things happen like this, some people need people that they can kind of process this information with. Some people that can help them get out of their own heads. I told you when I was talking earlier, I can't promise what kind of response your wife will make to your confession or to your reconciliation attempt or any of those things. Because sometimes some situations can trigger them into a very unhealthy mental state. And whether you caused it or not is really irrelevant. Now they're in an unhealthy mental state, and sometimes their actions don't always add up. Okay, they're not based on logic; they're based on emotion, which really starts to really get things twisted and distorted. And people have distorted views all the time, and oftentimes talking with a therapist can help that. But it's also possible that you guys, just as a couple, need some things and need some follow-ups. So that can be great, seeking help from a professional, but it doesn't have to be couples counseling. I find it's very often that you can't get both couples to go. But you as the man, there are things that you can do. Even choosing to watch videos like this, taking notes and learning these things, enrolling in the husband programs that are out there, finding ways and support groups and groups of people that are all trying to do kind of the same thing, getting involved in a manner that you start learning the skills and gaining the tools you need to be the kind of husband you're supposed to be in your marriage. That's the type of professional help that really, really, truly will help. if you can tell that there's something off with your wife, or she needs help getting over some of the mental anguish and emotional anguish that either came with the distrustful situation or has come with other things, then you need to gently and firmly encourage her to get help and provide a path that makes it very easy for her to do so, because there might be some things that she needs some help getting through, and oftentimes we have, as husbands, in some ways can't be the one that helps them with those things. And so in those kinds of cases, seeking help from a professional would be wise. So understand this: trust is built through taking responsibility, being patient, being consistent with your actions, and getting outside help, whether it's marriage programs, husband programs, professional counseling, therapy. Letting yourself gain the knowledge and information that you didn't have before to be a better man than you had been before. Okay. If this video was helpful for you, go ahead and subscribe. You can watch some more. I've got several different topics on the channel. I'm glad I was able to help you today. See you again soon.